Nathan Ellis hunched over his desk, the blue glow of his computer screen reflecting off his glasses. The clock on his wall showed 2:17 a.m., but time meant little to him when he was working. His small suburban home was quiet except for the occasional beep from the equipment scattered around his bedroom-turned observatory. "There you are," he whispered, adjusting a dial on the radio receiver. The familiar pattern of signals appeared on his screen, pulsing in the same sequence he had been tracking for months. Nathan wasn't supposed to have this equipment at home. The university where he worked as an assistant professor of astrophysics had rejected his research proposal about the unusual cosmic signals. Random noise, they called it. Pattern seeking in random data. But Nathan knew better. These signals were too regular, too structured to be random. He took a sip of cold coffee and grimaced. His life had fallen into a simple routine. Teach during the day, search the skies at night, and occasionally remember to eat and sleep. Housekeeping and laundry were handled by Lisa Daniels, who came 3 times a week to make sure he didn't disappear under a pile of dirty clothes and unwashed dishes. Lisa was a quiet woman in her late 20s who kept to herself. Nathan appreciated that she never asked too many questions about the strange equipment in his bedroom or his unusual hours. She simply worked around his eccentricities, leaving meals in the refrigerator with heating instructions taped to the containers. Nathan adjusted another dial, trying to clean up the incoming signal. He was so focused on his work that he didn't hear the soft footsteps in the hallway. Lisa had a key to Nathan's house, of course. She usually came during the day when Nathan was at the university, but today her regular schedule had been disrupted. Her mother had needed a ride to a doctor's appointment, so Lisa had rescheduled her cleaning for the evening. She assumed Nathan would be out at the university observatory, as he often was on clear nights. She had finished the rest of the house and had a basket of clean laundry to deliver to his bedroom. Lisa knocked softly on the door out of habit, not expecting an answer. When none came, she turned the handle and pushed the door open with her hip, balancing the laundry basket. "Oh!" Lisa gasped as the basket slipped from her hands, sending neatly folded clothes tumbling to the floor. Nathan spun around in his chair, knocking over his coffee mug. Brown liquid spread across his papers as he stared at Lisa with wide eyes. "I'm so sorry," Lisa said quickly, dropping to her knees to gather the clothes. "I thought you were out. I was just bringing your laundry." Nathan didn't respond. He was too busy trying to cover the equipment on his desk, but it was too late. The small device in the center of his workspace emitted a pulsing green light, and strange symbols flashed across his computer screen. Lisa stopped gathering clothes and stared at the equipment. "What is all this?" "Nothing," Nathan said too quickly. "Just some work stuff." Lisa stood slowly, her eyes fixed on the small device. It wasn't like any scientific equipment she had seen before. The metal had an unusual sheen, and parts of it seemed to shift and move in ways that didn't make sense. "That's not university equipment," she said softly. "I used to clean the physics labs. I've never seen anything like that." Nathan ran a hand through his messy hair. "Lisa, I can explain. It's just..." He was interrupted by a sudden burst of light from the device. Symbols appeared in the air above it, hovering like a hologram. Lisa took a step back, her eyes wide. "Nathan, what's going on? What is that thing?" Nathan sighed deeply. His secret was out. "Something I never meant for anyone else to see," he said quietly. "Something that could change everything." Lisa stood frozen, her eyes fixed on the floating symbols that pulsed with a gentle blue light. Nathan quickly moved to close his bedroom door, checking the hallway before turning back to face her. "Please sit down," he said, gesturing to the small armchair in a corner of the room. His voice was surprisingly calm despite the panic in his eyes. Lisa remained standing. "What is that thing, Nathan? And don't tell me it's a university project." Nathan sighed and rubbed his tired eyes under his glasses. "It's not." "You're right." He paused, weighing his options before continuing. "What I'm about to tell you will sound crazy, but I need you to listen before you decide what to do." Lisa nodded slowly, Finally sinking into the chair, the mysterious device continued to emit soft beeps and pulses of light. For the past 8 months, I've been communicating with a civilization from another star system, Nathan said. He spoke plainly, as if discussing the weather. The signals I've been tracking aren't random cosmic noise like my colleagues believe. They're responses to messages I sent years ago. Lisa's eyebrows shot up. You're communicating with aliens. The Verith, Nathan corrected, turning to his computer. He pulled up a series of files, complex mathematical formulas, spectral analyses, and what appeared to be a crude translation matrix. They're about 60 light-years from Earth, orbiting a dying star. Their technology is far beyond ours, including faster-than-light communication. This is insane, Lisa whispered, but her eyes were locked on the screen, studying the evidence. Nathan continued, 3 weeks ago, they sent me this. He tapped a key, and a small device floated up from the table, the source of the holographic symbols. It arrived in a meteorite that landed outside the city. I found it using coordinates they sent me. Lisa leaned forward. Why you? Why not NASA or some government agency? Because I was the only one listening on the right frequency, Nathan said with a small smile. And because they're desperate. Their star is dying faster than they predicted. They need help. The device pulsed again, and new symbols appeared. Nathan quickly typed something on his keyboard, and the symbols changed configuration. You can understand that? Lisa asked, pointing at the strange glyphs. Not perfectly. I've been working on a translation algorithm. It's mathematical at its core, universal constants, prime numbers, basic physics. We're building a common language. Lisa stood and walked cautiously toward the device. And no one else knows about this. Nathan shook his head. If government agencies found out, they'd seize everything. The Verith would be seen as a threat instead of what they are, a peaceful civilization facing extinction. As if responding to his words, the device projected a new image, a star system with a reddish, swollen star. Around it orbited several planets, and one was highlighted. That's their home, Nathan explained. They have technology that could help us solve our own problems. Clean energy, advanced medicine, ways to heal our environment. But they need our help too. They're looking for a new home. Lisa reached out her hand, stopping just short of touching the hologram. This is incredible. She looked at Nathan with new eyes. All this time, I thought you were just an odd professor with bad sleep habits. Nathan chuckled. I am that too. The device suddenly flashed brighter, drawing their attention. A message formed in English words this time. Simple, broken, but clear. New voice. Who, with N-A-T-A-N. Lisa gasped, stepping back. It knows I'm here. Nathan nodded, his expression serious. Lisa, I didn't plan for anyone to find out, but now that you have. He took a deep breath. I could use your help. The question is, what will you do with this information? The light from the device cast shadows across Lisa's face as she considered her answer. Everything she thought she knew about the universe had just changed in an instant. Lisa stared at the alien device, her mind racing with possibilities. The silence stretched between them until she finally spoke. Before I was cleaning houses, I studied linguistics at the university, she said quietly. I never finished my degree because my mom got sick and I needed steady income to help with her medical bills. Nathan's eyes widened with surprise. Linguistics. Lisa nodded, stepping closer to examine the translation algorithm on his screen. Your basic framework is good, but your syntax mapping has some flaws. She pointed to a section of code. You're assuming their language follows the same subject-verb-object structure as English, but what if it doesn't? Nathan watched as Lisa quickly typed a few adjustments to his algorithm. The holographic symbols rearranged themselves, and suddenly more English words appeared in the translation. That's incredible, Nathan whispered. How did you know? Lisa shrugged. Pattern recognition. Their symbol groupings suggested a verb-first structure. Many Earth languages work that way too. The device beeped again, this time displaying a clearer message. Understand better now. Who any do voice. Nathan looked at Lisa, silently asking permission. When she nodded, he typed, "This is Lisa. She is helping with translation. She is trusted." The response came quickly. Good. More UNDRSTANDing. Faster communication needed. Lisa sat down in Nathan's chair, her fingers flying over the keyboard as she refined the translation matrix. They must have been so frustrated trying to communicate with us. With me, Nathan corrected, watching her work with amazement. I had no idea you had these skills. You never asked, Lisa said with a small smile. You just left your coffee cups for me to wash. Nathan had the decency to look embarrassed. I'm sorry. I've been distracted by aliens. I think that's a valid excuse. Lisa laughed softly. They worked through the night, Lisa improving the translation while Nathan explained everything he had learned about the Verith civilization. The aliens lived on a planet called Verithon, orbiting a red giant star that had become increasingly unstable. Their technology was centuries beyond Earth's, including clean energy systems that pulled power directly from quantum fluctuations. They want to share their technology with us, Nathan explained as dawn began to break outside his window. In exchange for helping some of their people relocate. Relocate where? Lisa asked, looking up from the computer. They didn't specify, but they mentioned studying our solar system's outer planets and moons. The device pulsed with new information, now translating more fluently thanks to Lisa's improvements. Your MARS. KUDTRANSFORM. Make habitable. Small colony only. Lisa's eyes widened. They want to terraform Mars. They have the technology to do it, Nathan said. They could create a self-contained ecosystem. They don't need much space. Their entire civilization is only about 1 million individuals. And they'd share their knowledge with us. Their technology. Nathan nodded. Energy systems that could end our dependence on fossil fuels. Medical advancements that could cure diseases we consider terminal. Lisa leaned back in her chair, considering the implications. This is bigger than just us, Nathan. The world needs to know. The wrong people knowing could be dangerous, Nathan countered. Military applications, government control. But the right people knowing could save lives, Lisa said firmly. We need allies. People we can trust. Nathan looked at the woman before him, not just a housekeeper, but a brilliant linguist who had improved in hours what had taken him months to build. He realized he needed her, not just for her skills, but for her perspective. You're right, he admitted. We can't do this alone. The device flashed again. Time short. State are unstable. Need DCSIO soon. Lisa met Nathan's gaze, determination in her eyes. Then let's get to work. We have a world to save, and a new one to help create. 3 weeks passed quickly as Nathan and Lisa fell into a new routine. By day, Lisa maintained her cleaning schedule at other houses to avoid suspicion. By night, she worked alongside Nathan, refining their communication with the Verith. Their progress accelerated dramatically with Lisa's linguistic expertise. On this particular evening, they were attempting to receive more detailed technical information about the Verith's clean energy systems. The alien device sat at the center of Nathan's desk, pulsing with blue-green light as data streamed into his computer. The translation is holding up well, Lisa said, watching the technical specifications appear on screen. But some of these concepts don't have equivalent terms in English. Nathan nodded, taking notes. Their energy matrix operates on principles we haven't even theorized yet. The device suddenly beeped rapidly, its light changing to a deep purple. What's happening? Lisa asked, leaning forward. I don't know. It's never done this before. Nathan typed quickly, trying to query the change. The device responded with a jumble of urgent symbols that their translation program struggled to interpret. HFY transmission unstable. Direct. Coming. Coming? What's coming? Nathan stood up, alarmed. The device began to vibrate, lifting slightly off the desk. The light it emitted expanded outward, forming a sphere about 3 feet in diameter. Nathan. Lisa grabbed his arm, pulling him back from the desk. The sphere of light pulsed 3 times, then flashed blindingly bright. When their vision cleared, the sphere had transformed into what looked like a window, a portal showing a laboratory filled with strange equipment. Standing in this window was a tall, slender figure. "Is that?" Lisa whispered. Before Nathan could answer, the figure stepped through the portal into Nathan's bedroom. The alien, for there was no mistaking it was not human, stood nearly 7 feet tall with silvery blue skin that seemed to shimmer like water. Its 4 arms moved with fluid grace, and its large eyes shone with an inner light. It wore what appeared to be a form-fitting uniform covered in small devices and tools. The portal behind the alien flickered and snapped shut with a sound like thunder. The sudden collapse sent a shock wave through the room, knocking over books and equipment. The alien staggered, one hand clutching at its side where a dark fluid seeped between its fingers. Kelrith. Name. Emergency transport. Damaged. The alien's voice had an odd musical quality, the English words clearly difficult to form. Lisa was the first to recover from the shock. "You're hurt," she said, stepping forward despite Nathan's attempt to hold her back. The alien, Kelrith, looked at her with eyes that shifted color from blue to amber. Transition. Unstable. Body. Damaged. "Let me help," Lisa said, reaching out slowly. Years of caring for her sick mother had given her basic medical knowledge, though she had no idea if it would apply to an alien physiology. Kelrith swayed dangerously, and Nathan rushed forward to help Lisa guide the alien to his bed. The dark fluid, presumably blood, was spreading across Kelrith's uniform. "What do we do?" Nathan asked, panic edging his voice. Lisa was already examining the wound. "It looks like a burn or tear in the tissue. We need to stop the bleeding." She turned to Kelrith. "Can you tell us how to help you?" Kelrith's long fingers fumbled with a small device on its wrist. It projected images showing simple medical instructions. Pressure. A sealing agent. Rest. "I think I understand," Lisa said. She hurried to Nathan's bathroom, returning with towels and the first aid kit she'd insisted he keep stocked. As she worked to stabilize the injured alien, Kelrith spoke again, its voice weaker but the words clearer. "Star. Destabilizing faster. Colony plans. Urgent now. Came to. Speak directly." Nathan looked from the injured alien to Lisa, whose hands moved with confident precision despite the extraordinary circumstances. "Why did you come here?" Nathan asked. "Why risk it?" Kelrith's eyes fixed on Nathan with sudden intensity. "Because your world. In danger too. Not just ours." Nathan pulled back the living room curtain just enough to peek outside. A black SUV had parked across the street from his house, the 3rd different vehicle in the past 2 hours. "They're still out there," he said, letting the curtain fall back into place. "Different car. Same people." Lisa looked up from where she was tending to Kelrith, who rested on the couch covered with a blanket. The alien's condition had stabilized, but it still needed time to recover from its interdimensional journey. "How did they find us so quickly?" she asked, keeping her voice low. "The portal," Kelrith whispered, its musical voice now stronger than it had been the previous night. "Energy signature. Very distinct. Your government monitors such things." Nathan ran a hand through his hair. The energy spike must have triggered some kind of alert system. "We need to move now." Lisa nodded, already gathering their essential equipment into backpacks. "My family has a cabin about 2 hours north of here. It's isolated, no neighbors for miles. We should be safe there." "Your car is too obvious," Nathan said, peering out again. "They've probably already recorded your license plate." "We're not taking my car," Lisa replied with a small smile. She pulled out her phone and sent a quick text. "My brother Pete owes me a favor. He'll be here in 15 minutes with his delivery van. We'll hide in the back with Kelrith." Nathan stared at her. "You seem surprisingly good at this for a housekeeper." Lisa's expression became guarded. "There's a lot you don't know about me, Nathan." She turned away, focusing on packing the alien communication device. Kelrith watched their interaction with curious color-shifting eyes. "Lisa Daniels, not just cleaner of homes," the alien observed. Lisa shot Kelrith a warning look, but said nothing as she continued packing. 20 minutes later, they were huddled in the back of Pete's delivery van, surrounded by boxes of auto parts that provided cover. Pete had asked no questions when Lisa mentioned an emergency, just another sign to Nathan that there was more to his housekeeper than he had realized. As they drove away, Nathan watched through a small gap as two men in dark suits approached his house, speaking into radio transmitters. "That was close," he whispered. "Too close," Lisa agreed. "Once we reach the cabin, we need to establish a secure communication system. We need allies." The journey to the cabin was tense but uneventful. Pete dropped them off at the end of a dirt road, promising to return with supplies in 2 days. They hiked the final mile through dense woods, supporting Kelrith between them. The cabin was small but well-maintained, a main room with a fireplace, a basic kitchen, 2 bedrooms, and most importantly, no nearby neighbors or cell towers. "How do you have a place like this?" Nathan asked as Lisa expertly started a fire in the hearth. Lisa was quiet for a moment, arranging kindling. "I wasn't always a housekeeper, Nathan. I worked for the National Security Agency for 6 years as an intelligence analyst, linguistics division." Nathan sat down heavily on a worn armchair. "You were a spy. Analyst," she corrected. "Until I saw how the information I helped gather was being used. I quit, changed careers, kept a low profile." She looked up at him. "Clean houses, meet normal people, live a quiet life. Until I ruined it by accidentally involving you with aliens," Nathan said with a weak smile. "The men outside your house," Lisa continued, ignoring his attempt at humor. "I recognize the protocols. Department of Homeland Security, Special Collection Service. They're serious people, Nathan. They won't stop looking." Kelrith, who had been silent during this exchange, suddenly spoke. "More reason. Urgency. My star, not only danger. Your son, receiving increased radiation from my star's instability. Effects already beginning." Nathan and Lisa turned to the alien. "What effects?" Nathan asked. "Solar flares, magnetic disturbances, will increase. Your planet's technology, vulnerable. Without preparation, billions could die." Lisa's face paled as she looked at Nathan. "This isn't just about helping the Verith anymore. It's about saving Earth too." Nathan nodded grimly. "Then we better start making those calls. We need the right people on our side. And fast." The cabin's main room had transformed over the past week. Maps and star charts covered the walls, and Kelrith's communication device now sat on a table surrounded by modified Earth equipment. Lisa had used her old intelligence contacts carefully, reaching out to scientists and officials she knew could be trusted. "Dr. Olivia White confirmed she'll meet us tomorrow," Lisa said, hanging up the secure satellite phone Nathan had built from parts Pete had delivered. "She's bringing her climate modeling data that supports what Kelrith has been telling us." Nathan nodded, working on adapting Kelrith's device to Earth power sources. "What about Carter from JPL?" "He's scared but on board. He's the one who confirmed the unusual solar activity has increased 43% in the past month." Lisa sat down beside Nathan, lowering her voice. "Our coalition is growing, but so is the government search. They've set up checkpoints on all major roads in a 100-mile radius." Kelrith moved toward them, its movements now fluid and graceful since recovering from its injuries. The alien had adapted quickly to Earth's gravity and atmosphere, needing only to wear a small breathing filter that enriched the oxygen content. 6 of your days remain before communication window opens again, Kelrith said. My people need answer. Will Earth help? We're doing everything we can, Nathan assured the alien. But convincing world leaders won't be easy. Lisa's phone chirped with a secure message. Dr. White sent something ahead of her visit. She opened the file on their laptop. It's, my God. Nathan and Kelrith moved to look over her shoulder. On screen was a simulation showing massive solar flares hitting Earth's magnetic field, causing cascading power failures across entire continents. This is what happens in 3 months if we do nothing, Lisa explained. And in 6 months, she swiped to the next image showing catastrophic climate shifts. We need to move faster, Nathan said. He looked at Kelrith. Can your people help prevent this? Yes, the alien confirmed. Deflection technology, we have. Can shield your planet as we shield colony, but need Mars base established first. Lisa stood suddenly, pacing the small room. We can't wait for official channels. Even with the evidence we're gathering, bureaucracy will take too long. She turned to face them. We need to go public. Public. Nathan looked alarmed. That could cause panic. Or it could force their hand, Lisa countered. If enough people know the truth, they can't just make us disappear. Kelrith tilted its head, eyes shifting to a thoughtful purple. Your people fear difference, fear unknown. Some do, Lisa acknowledged, but most just want to survive. And right now, our best chance at survival is working together, humans and Verith. A knock at the door silenced them. Lisa motioned for Kelrith to move to the back room while she checked the security camera they had installed. It's Dr. White, she said with relief. She's early. Nathan opened the door to a tall woman with silver-streaked hair and sharp eyes. Dr. Olivia White entered quickly, her gaze immediately finding the alien technology on the table. So it's true, she said quietly. I had to see for myself. Lisa performed quick introductions before calling Kelrith back into the room. Dr. White's scientific composure barely faltered at the sight of the alien. Dr. Ellis, your message said you had evidence of both the threat and a potential solution, she said, all business despite the extraordinary circumstances. For the next hour, they presented their case. The data, the simulations, the Verith's proposal. Dr. White listened intently, asking precise questions that Kelrith answered with increasing fluency in English. This plan could work, she finally said. But you're right about one thing. Official channels will be too slow. We need direct access to decision-makers. How? Nathan asked. Dr. White smiled for the first time. I was chief science advisor to the United Nations for 15 years. I still have the private numbers of 3 Security Council members, and they'll listen to me. Lisa felt hope rising for the first time in days. So you'll help us? I already am, Dr. White replied. There's a private airfield 50 miles north of here. A plane will be waiting tomorrow night. We're going to Geneva. Nathan looked at Lisa, then at Kelrith. The reality of what they were doing, potentially changing the course of human history, suddenly felt overwhelming. I never expected any of this, he said quietly to Lisa. When you walked into my room that night, Lisa completed his thought. Neither did I. But here we are, saving 2 worlds. The United Nations Assembly Hall buzzed with tension. Hundreds of delegates from around the world sat in stunned silence as they watched the video evidence playing on the massive screens. Solar flare data, climate projections, and finally, footage of Kelrith explaining the Verith situation in its musical, flowing English. In the small preparation room behind the stage, Nathan adjusted his tie nervously. 3 months had passed since that night when Lisa had discovered his secret. Now they stood at the center of what would likely be remembered as the most important day in human history. Stop fidgeting, Lisa said gently, reaching up to straighten his collar. You look fine. I'm about to address the entire United Nations, Nathan replied, with an alien standing next to me. Fine isn't really what I'm worried about. Lisa smiled. You've rehearsed your speech 20 times. The scientific coalition backs every word. This will work." The door opened, and Dr. White entered with Kelrith close behind. The alien now wore a specially designed Earth suit that helped regulate its body temperature and oxygen levels. "It's time," Dr. White said. The Security Council vote was 17-0 in favor of the Mars colony proposal. They're ready to announce the formation of the Earth-Verith Cooperation Initiative. Nathan took a deep breath, looking at the 3 individuals who had changed his life and potentially saved his planet. "Let's do this." They walked onto the stage to thunderous applause, mixed with audible gasps as Kelrith came into view. The Secretary General welcomed them and invited Nathan to the podium. "6 months ago," Nathan began, his voice steady despite his nerves, "I was an assistant professor tracking unusual signals from space. Today, I stand before you to formalize humanity's first alliance with another civilization." He outlined the plan that had been developed through intense negotiations. Earth would help establish a Verith colony on Mars, using their advanced terraforming technology to create a habitable environment within specially designed domes. In exchange, the Verith would share their clean energy and deflection technology to protect Earth from the radiation surges coming from their dying star. "This is not about charity," Nathan emphasized. "This is about mutual survival. 2 civilizations facing extinction, finding hope in cooperation rather than conflict." As he spoke, Lisa watched from the side of the stage, her heart swelling with pride. The frightened man who had tried to hide his discovery had grown into a confident ambassador for humanity. Their journey had been dangerous. There had been close calls with government agents, a harrowing flight to Geneva, and difficult negotiations. But they had succeeded. When Nathan finished his address, the assembly rose in a standing ovation. He stepped back as the Secretary General approached the podium to announce the next steps. Construction of the Mars colony would begin within 6 months, using Verith designs and Earth resources. Backstage after the ceremony, Nathan found a moment alone with Lisa. "I've been offered the position of Earth Ambassador to the Verith," he said quietly. "They want me to oversee the Mars project." Lisa nodded. "I know. They offered me the leadership of the new Interspecies Communication Department. You're taking it." "Of course," she replied with a smile. "Someone needs to make sure humans don't say something offensive to our new neighbors." Nathan laughed, then grew serious. "When you walked into my room that night, I was terrified you'd expose my secret. I never imagined you'd become—" He paused, searching for words. "The most important person in your life," Lisa suggested with a teasing smile. "Yes," Nathan admitted, taking her hand. "Exactly that." The door opened as Kelrith entered with several high-ranking officials. Outside, they could hear the press clamoring for statements and photos. "Ambassador Ellis," one official called. "The press is waiting for the first official Earth-Verith photograph." Nathan looked at Lisa, still holding her hand. "Ready to make history?" "We already have," she replied, squeezing his hand as they walked together to meet the world and its new future. The next morning, newspapers across the globe carried the same historic photograph. Nathan Ellis and Lisa Daniels standing proudly alongside Kelrith, the first Verith representative on Earth, beneath a headline that would define a new age. 2 worlds, 1 future. What had begun with a maid accidentally entering a room at night had ended with the salvation of 2 civilizations and the beginning of a love story that would inspire generations on 2 planets.